Well, welcome everybody to the Safe Route Schools Network call. It's April 7th. Got the new logos up here. Once again, one of our Safe Routes friends said, you know, we got these brand new logos. Why not throw them up there? It's like, you're absolutely right. So today we have a little bit less traditional of a meeting. We're doing the welcome introduction. This is here. Then we're going to talk a little bit about this active transportation planning assistance grant with Kelly from MnDOT. And then we're going to do our social, where we're just going to kind of have an open space to chat about some successes, about some difficulties, and about some strategies. We were going to break out into several different groups, but I think what we might do is just break into two. I think two could be good because we've got, you know, a good amount of facilitators as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kelly, and then I'm going to start just making sure I have the groups ready.
Perfect. Thank you for switching the slide. Hi, everyone. We were not going to give a MnDOT update, but then this great opportunity, we were able to launch our new active transportation program, which we just got funded last year, our planning assistance solicitation, and it just went live this morning. And you got 2 months to work with your communities to pull together an application. So it's really similar to the Safe Routes to School planning assistance application, you know, gathering a team of partners, looking at what some of the barriers are, where the destinations are that people like to bike or walk to, and what's needed to make more people, or to get more people biking and walking through non-infrastructure and infrastructure means that'll help set you up for future grant opportunities that we will also have opening soon. So with this, we'll work with a planning consultant, just like our Safe Routes planning assistance grants, but it just takes a bigger area. So with Safe Routes, you're kind of looking at maybe 1 to 2 miles around a school. This could be an entire city. If you have multiple cities that kind of make sense to go together, you can have multiple cities together. If you have an entire county and would like to try that approach, you know, we're willing to fund that. Or if you're in a more dense area and really just want to look at a specific corridor, that's something that we can work on with these planning assistance grants. So there's definitely flexibility to meet the needs of your community and your partners. And we're launching this for the first time, so we'd love to try some different approaches to see what works best between, you know, one city, multiple cities, counties, corridors, and give it a go. This is going to be the first of 3 years worth of solicitations. So, you know, go and take this to your partners, get them excited and interested. If you can apply this year, yay, we'd love to see it. If this year isn't good, you know, tell them to hold tight and another application will be open next year. So it's something you can plan ahead for, especially if you're working on your next round of SHIP applications and SHIP work plans. We do have 2 webinars coming up. They're the same webinars, so if you missed one, jump on the other, or if you're partners and you have to split and do 2 different ones, it's a great place to ask questions after you've looked through the website. I did drop the website in there, and it does have the application broken out so you can see what's in the application if it's something that's feasible for you to accomplish in the next couple months. So I think I'm going to leave it there, just announcing it. It's available. Take a peek. We can do a deeper dive on this grant opportunity on our May call, or you can join the webinars if you have questions, or of course, please reach out to me and we can get those questions answered. It's a really exciting opportunity and we're so happy to have this new active transportation funding. If you're thinking about infrastructure, that application will open in October with the rest of the infrastructure funding opportunities. So hold tight on that one. But this one, if you're thinking about planning, get going. It's due in 2 months. So I'll pause for a second if there's any questions.
Kelly, is there a local match required for the planning assistance?
No local match. So similar to Safe Routes to School, MnDOT funding goes straight to a planning consultant. So no funding will go directly to the communities that apply. It will just go to the planning consultant who works with the community to develop the plan, but there is no match required at all. Good question. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
We got time if there's one more other question. Okay, then my last plug before we move on to the actual agenda here is Bike to School Day is May 4th. So I will drop our resources. If you register by April 22nd, we'll mail you some stickers that you can use and hand out to your schools. Otherwise, we got lots of resources for in classroom, out of school, and things that you can use to get people excited. So take a look at that web link.
Great. Well, thanks so much for sharing. It's an exciting opportunity, and I'm excited to hear more about it next month. So with that, we're going to break out into the social, and how this is going to work. We're going to break into groups. Since we're a smaller group today, we'll just break into two. Facilitators will identify themselves in each group. I'm guessing myself and Jill, or Kelly and Jill, whoever's feeling the most, what is the word? Gregarious, mellifluous. There's a word for chatty that I like. Anyways, and then folks will just take a second to introduce themselves and where they're working. And then we're going to discuss the old topic. We're not going to take notes. We're not going to do any Google stuff. We're literally just having a discussion here because we know that from the survey, folks really just want to have some more time to chat and meet each other. And then we have 3 questions, and in between each one, we'll try to mix up the group a little bit. Yeah, at least between the first and the second, mix it up a little bit so that folks can meet other folks. So with the first one, we're going to talk about selling safe routes. So sharing compelling messaging, framing and stories that garner buy-in from school, community partners to participate and engage in safe route school efforts. The creativity amongst the safe routes crew is impressive. You may have found a unique selling point that can help others frame efforts in a new way. So different ways that you've thought of kind of selling this and really starting to drum up interest in the program and engagement. So with that, I'm going to, we're up to enough folks that I'm going to make it 3 groups. I'm just going to make sure that we each got a facilitator. Each group has a facilitator in it, so we're good to go. We're going to break into 3 groups, and we're going to answer this question, and I will put it into the chat. Here we go.
Cool.
Ellen, do you want to be the facilitator here?
Sure, I can try. Did you have other, do you have other plans? Okay. So I'll introduce myself. I feel like I'm Ellen Pillsbury. I'm the active transportation coordinator with the Department of Health. Feels like it's been a bit since I've been on a Safe Routes to School call, just due to COVID assignment, but I'm glad to be back in this meeting and able to have this conversation about Safe Routes to School. And maybe we can go around and do that quick introduction like Eric suggested. Can I call on folks? Sam, can I call on you since you're, I think I'll go clockwise.
And I'll call on someone after I'm done. My name's Sam Gatton, and I work in New Ulm, Minnesota, as the New Ulm School Safe Routes to School coordinator, grant funded by MnDOT. Will, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hey, everybody. Will Kerngroom. I work with planning and design on some of the safe routes planning projects across the state last couple of years, and also do some demonstration project work with communities across the state. And I'll call on Gina.
I love the popcorn method, so I'm really digging this. I am Gina Johnson. I'm the Live Well Goodhue County coordinator, and so that is through the SHIP grant. And we just recently got a Safe Routes to School infrastructure and planning grant in our county. So I'm excited to hear from all of you guys. Forgot to popcorn, even though I said I like popcorning. I will popcorn Jason.
All right, Jason Walker. I'm with the Southwest Regional Development Commission. Been doing this about 3 years, and we do all the planning down here. We're just doing one plan right now, and then got another plan for next year. And we had 3 infrastructure grants awarded in our region this year, so that's exciting. Oh, and then Brianna.
Perfect. Thanks, Jason. My name is Brianna Sanders. I'm the transportation planner at the UMVRDC in Appleton, Minnesota. We do Safe Routes to School plans as well. We have one scheduled awarded for this next year, and then we also got an infrastructure grant as well. And I will pass it to, see if I can, Joanne, I believe.
Yeah, my name is Joanne Mose, and I work at Blue Cross and Blue Shield in the Center for Prevention. Colleague of Jill, I work in evaluation and active living in tobacco. Eric and Alan, do you want to do introductions, or does everybody know you? I guess Alan, you already did yours, so Eric.
Yeah, again, Eric Thompson. I work with Move Minnesota as, you know, I'm a planner by trade, but I've worked in schools for a long time. So based in the Twin Cities and working with all y'all over the state.
Well, thanks. This is a great group of different backgrounds, both planning and SHIP and evaluation. So cool. Should we start with the first question, Eric? The selling, just keep going. So it sounds like there's been a lot of success in your communities with, you know, getting awarded planning grants, infrastructure grants. I don't know, do you want to share how the community, how you sold the, I mean, this could be years ago you sold the program, because it takes it takes some planning time or a lot of time and effort to get organized enough to submit an application. Typically, not always. Does anyone want to share how they, how the strategies their community used to, go out and put the applications together and get that community buy-in? Or just want to tell us a story of one of the communities that you've successfully had an application?
I think another.
Go ahead. Oh, I guess, I don't know. I think Safe Routes to School, at least in my school district, like, I think it's always really nice, like, when, like, we have a story to get out there. It just always seems like something so positive, where I think a lot of other things, like, that's not always the case. Like, sometimes we hear a lot of stories in our school that, like, maybe just they're really not good, but the Safe Routes work, like usually always is a positive story. So, or I like to put a positive spin on it, I guess. And, whenever I get a chance to, like, tell people about our work, it's, always met with, like, really positive, reception. Like, recently, our school district just applied for a boost grant, and we got an award letter for that. And so our school board signed the resolution, and it was actually a pretty like heavily attended school board meeting. There's a lot of people there. And, like, when we explain, our boost grant is to establish a traffic playground on our school campus. And yeah, I think a lot of people just thought that was, like, a cool thing. And I heard a lot of comments like, wow, that's, really interesting. And so I guess, yeah, I think it's always fun to do that. And I think there's a lot of ways you can spin the work that you're doing and get people to think it's cool.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And being in front of a city council to talk about a project and the folks, that's a great, great venue to share success of Safe Routes.
Yeah, I actually have been thinking about something that maybe bringing up speaking in front of city council. One opportunity that I'm looking forward to, I suppose, coming up is we did like a kind of a pilot program with like crossing flags, like pedestrian crossing flags where there's a bucket and, you know, flags to carry across. And, you know, I'm planning to go talk about how that's going in the near future. And I'm, you know, kind of looking forward to sort of making the message that we need a lot more. And I'm just like, I'm wondering how to do that effectively in front of our city council representatives. Because they, you know, I think they thought this was really exciting. Like this is a very, you know, great thing that we're doing that's helping people. And I'm maybe under the perspective that it's something, but maybe not everything we'd hope for. So yeah, I'm curious if anybody has anything to share about that, about, you know, talking about Safe Routes work.
Do you have a sense, Sam, what some of the issues might have been in the past around investing in bike and ped infrastructure improvements? And are like traffic concern, vehicle traffic concerns a really big kind of point of pushback, or is it concerns about the cost and whether like it's an economically viable, you know, improvement? Or do you have a sense of like what some of the frames might be that you could kind of get out ahead of to encourage people to support things like that?
Yeah, costs are a big thing. You know, probably the biggest. But I kind of have the sense that maybe things don't get as prioritized. Yeah, I don't know. I think like the city's, you know, like complete street policy definitely has a focus on like having individuals come forth if they want to see a change, which I think is a little bit like tough. Like, you know, I think for the average person to read through the capital improvement plan and like, even for me, who's like kind of doing the work, I think it's kind of difficult to, you know, read through it. And then like, I think it's also easy to miss things too. Like, oh, this was done and probably could have like tried to get curb bump outs to this location. But it just didn't happen. Yeah, I guess are some things.
Well, I know that one way that we're going to be able to get some serious buy-in for Safe Routes to School efforts next week, we're going to be a part of a little council on climate change in St. Paul schools that's organized by teachers and students and the Office for Innovations in St. Paul. And just the desire to combat climate change, it's going to be, we talk about creatively selling Safe Routes to School, where I don't need to be creative. I can be like, this is point A to point B, if we really want to get serious about combating climate change. So our efforts are going to be talking a bit about getting more high school and middle school students onto transit, but it's also going to be a mix of walking buses, bike buses, trying to teach students how to be multimodal, teaching students how to put their bike on the front of a bus. And so we're excited for that coming up. And it's going to be a space where I get to plug Safe Routes to Schools meetings for folks and trying to get more people into the call and plugged into this. So garnering buy-in.
Say if you can convince some kids to show up to the meeting with you, that helps prioritize the issue as well.
There's going to be a class that's going to be presenting a bunch of students that are going to make some videos too, which will be rad.
Hey, Jason, will you share that story? I don't know, or whoops, I guess we're going back to breakout rooms. Okay.
60 seconds, tell us your story.
No, it's more of a general statement, but I just find that to get people really impacted, either take them out there on the walk themselves, experience it for themselves, or bring the children to them. And then it's really hard to say no or not prioritize it when they're coming to the council meeting, especially since it's so rare.
Cool. We're really leaving, Eric?
We're gonna bounce back to the main group and then we'll switch to the second question and then we'll switch up groups a little bit.
Okay.
Just so you can meet more folks.
Okay, cool. Thank you all.
But it's been a pleasure to meet all of you.
Yeah.
Cool. Looks like everyone's coming back. Hopefully those were some good conversations to get you thinking about how you can frame safe routes over the course of the summer and into the next year. I know we had some great ideas, getting icebreaker questions of having people think about how did they get to school when they went to school when they were younger, or using the language that comes out of the parent surveys to kind of reframe what they've already heard from parents and have a compelling message, or just talk about how kids like to be kids and jump in puddles and kick leaves, and that's the core of it. So hopefully those selling points are something that you can use and you had good conversation. Eric, are you getting things ready for the next breakout group?
I am switching people. So Zoom does not have a randomized feature. So I'm just exchanging people like mad over here, trying to switch it up a little bit, a little randomization.
Okay, so while you do that, I'll talk about the next breakout group. So we in Minnesota are very humble people, and we try to get safe route stories. It is a challenge because you're all doing good work, but you're very humble. So this next 10 minutes is the Brag Fest, the Great Minnesota Brag Fest. Anything that has been successful, we just want you to share and talk about it with each other. And it doesn't have to be that you got a bike fleet, or it doesn't have to be that you had 400 kids walking bike to school. Like getting a principal on board that you've been working with for 3 years, like that's a big deal. So we want you just to talk about whatever those successes are that you've had in your community. Even if you're just starting out and maybe you just got a Safe Routes planning grant, talk about that, because we're all at different levels with our Safe Routes. And it gets people excited or thinking about Safe Routes in a different way than some of the traditional pieces. So think about something that you can share. And we will inspire each other about what's happening across Minnesota. So, Eric, if you're ready.
I think we're ready. We're going to try it. So we'll see how mixed up they are. We'll see if I did a good job.
Okay.
I can start, and then we can maybe do a popcorn style, and I'll call the next person to introduce themselves. So I'm Ellen Pillsbury, Active Transportation Coordinator with the Minnesota Department of Health. I support SHIP and their Active Transportation, Active Living work. Pass it over to Sam again. I think I did that last time.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm not muted, Safe Routes to School coordinator in New Ulm, Minnesota. And I will pass it on over to Mariah.
Hi, I'm Mariah Klein. I'm a community health specialist with Benton County Public Health. For those of you who don't know, it's around the St. Cloud area, just east of St. Cloud. And I work on active living under the statewide health improvement partnership or SHIP grant. And I will pass it on to Gina.
I'm Gina Johnson with Live Well Goodhue County through the SHIP grant as well. So Goodhue County, our seat is Red Wing. We, as I mentioned in the last group, we just got 2 Safe Routes to School grants, a planning and an infrastructure grant. And I should mention, like, this is my first experience with any of this, so I'm going to probably stay pretty quiet. And I will pass it to Patrick.
Hi, I'm Patrick Hollister with Partnership for Health. We are the combined public health departments of Becker, Clay, Ottertail, and Wilkin counties, funded in part by SHIP. And I will pass it to Brianna.
Yeah, hi, Brianna Sanders. I'm the transportation planner with the UMVRDC in Appleton. We just have a Safe Routes to School plan coming up, and we were awarded like an infrastructure grant last time too. So all exciting. Sorry, Michelle.
I'm Michelle Van Meveren. I'm a SMSU RN to BSN student with Brown County Public Health. So I'm just kind of learning from this experience.
I might be the only one that didn't go. Eric Thompson with Move Minnesota. We host the network call, and I'm a transportation planner by trade, but I've worked in Minneapolis public schools for a long time as well.
Well, thank you all. So let's begin this Minnesota Brag Fest and Safe Routes to School. I know, as Kelly said, Safe Routes to School work, it's hard work and very incremental work, I found. So we'd love to hear some of those. We've heard about awards being received, and that's a big success, but those small successes, we'd love to hear about how you've invited people to the table and gotten them to participate more, or whatever you'd like to share. I'll kind of be quiet now and see if anyone wants to share something in their community they're proud of to talk about.
I can share or brag about probably one of the things I had the most fun with was this last fall, we wanted to we've had a little bit of a difficult time getting teachers to do walk, bike, fun curriculum in the school. There's some barriers that we need to get over. And so we wanted to be able to like offer it outside of the classroom. So we tried to plan a bike club. And originally I was just kind of trying to plan it and find a person to lead it in the school, and we couldn't. So I ended up leading it, which was super fun. But the way we got like a lot of kids to participate is we like made it a middle school club. So they already have like their clubs that they do after school. But then we got permission to invite the 4th graders to participate. And so they thought that was so cool that they got to go to a middle school club. And so we actually only had one middle school student, and the rest were all 4th graders, but they loved it because they got to come over to the middle school. And, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it so much. I was a little like really worried to be working with 4th graders, but it was super fun, and they loved it. And that was one of my highlights of this year, was that. And they all learned a lot of really good skills. And I think they, feel a little bit more confident on their bicycles, and are excited to be able to ride their bicycles on the street. And yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Any questions or anyone else want to brag?
So one of the communities in our area is Pelican Rapids, and Pelican Rapids had a Safe Routes to School plan from 2009. Although back then, the standards were lower for what qualifies as a safe routes to school plan than the standards today. So when we talk about the 6 E's or the 7 E's, or I don't know how many E's there are at the moment, but the 2009 Pelican Rapids Safe Routes to School plan was basically just about sidewalks. It was basically only the engineering E. And for the last 10 years, Wayne Hurley and I have been trying to persuade Pelican Rapids that they really should apply for planning assistance again and get a new Safe Routes to School plan that covers all 7 E's or 6 E's. We finally, with the help of Mallory Jarvie, who's working for West Central Initiative now, we finally did persuade them to reapply, and they got it. And so now for 2022-2023, Pelican Rapids will be creating a new Safe Routes to School plan that's going to cover all the E's.
Wow, congrats, Patrick. That's a long time of working
Yeah,
to persuade them. Wow.
They may not have, they might not still be on board with us in terms of needing the other E's, but I think now that their old plan is 13 years old, that might have been what finally tipped them over. So we're happy either way.
Anyone else like to go?
I can share a little bit. So in Benton County, we have a small community of Rice, the city of Rice, and they have a Safe Routes to School plan, but there hasn't been much work done after the initial plan, and then COVID happened, and then we still weren't able to focus on it. So just recently in February, I reached out to their principal to see if they wanted to participate in Winter Walk to School Day, which I know was kind of a big ask because I think it might be easier sometimes to coordinate the fall walk to school day just because of the weather and some of those aspects that go into planning. But she was very open to participating in Winter Walk to School Day, which was exciting. Unfortunately, we had to reschedule it just with the weather being like -20 that day. But it worked out really well, and they are excited to participate this fall. So we are very excited for them to actually move forward with some of their other Safe Routes to School initiatives.
That's a huge win, especially in COVID times.
Congrats. Yeah, and they also won the Golden Snow Boot Award, so they were very excited about that.
That's great. Anyone else?
It's funny this fall. I'm part of like a club, like a bike club, and we were asked to help teach students ride bikes at Green Central Elementary, and I was like, oh, that'll be fun. And so we went to help out, and it turns out that it was with like this mobile bike fleet that Jenny Borden had gotten, and that they were doing walk bike fun curriculum. And I didn't know any of this. So I just showed up with some friends and just got to work with 4th and 5th grade students, helping them ride bikes for a couple of Fridays. And it was just such a fortuitous encounter to be able to like do that work. And so exciting for so many kids to be on bikes for the first time. And I think my favorite part was a student was like, I'm never going to be able to ride a bike. And I was like, you just got to practice. You will ride a bike one day. And they're like, do you think so? And I was like, I know so. And they were like, oh, and they got back on their bike. So just so exciting, those interactions with kids and seeing how important this work is, like face to face with students.
Has anyone experienced the win of like, you got the kid excited to ride the bike or walk, and then they go home and talk to their parents about it, and then all of a sudden you realize like the parents kind of more in or more involved or more engaged. That was a win I had back when I was doing Safe Routes to School work locally. Was the power of the children's enthusiasm really got parents on board, teachers too. I don't know if we can hear you, but go ahead.
This microphone on my device is really You can hear me now? Okay, I'll go. So last spring, one of our elementary school PE teachers, I'm from Brooklyn Center Community Schools. One of our elementary school PE teachers was interested in doing a biking program for kindergartners, and talked to our community schools manager, and they decided to do a GoFundMe to try and raise funds to work with All Kids Bike program and purchase the bikes and the curriculum. And so we started that, and initially, of course, you get interest and there's a few people donating, and then it just fizzled out right away, and like we weren't able to raise the funds. And so we had posted about it on the district social media pages, and our SHIP coordinator saw it and reached out to us, and she actually made it happen. So as of February, we had all the funds that we needed, and they were able to get the purchase. And after spring break, which we just came back on Monday, he was going to plan on getting that curriculum started and get the kiddos out on bikes this spring. So very exciting.
Great story. Cool. I want to hear back later once things are rolling. I'm sure you'd like to hear that success. Anybody else would like to share? I'll just say just curious if there's been any wins around trying to reach or connect with school staff who are really busy. Ryan, you mentioned you had one, but that's been hard this year. So I just want to say, anytime you've had a really good connection with someone in the school, give yourself some gold stars.
Yeah, I think that's really hard. Recently, though, I've been able to connect with the after school kids care director. So the kind of the daycare coordinator. And those folks seem to maybe have a little more time during the day and stuff to chat and talk. And so that's been kind of good, because it is really difficult to get to chat with teachers who are in the building. They have a lot to do. So.
Big ups to everyone doing this work in the time of the pandemic and teacher strikes. Like, this is immeasurably difficult. So it's incredible that we're getting any work done at all.
All right, looks like everyone is coming back here. Hopefully that was fun to hear about some of the other successes that are happening in other parts of the state and happening from, just a short time doing this work to a long time doing this work, and how things kind of build on each other and build that momentum. We're talking transportation, and this work takes a really long time. So those incremental successes are still that momentum that's getting you to your end goal. Hopefully maybe you got some new ideas of things you want to do, or see the benefit in our really fun MnDOT grant applications. And hopefully we can see more of them when we open all those solicitations again in October, is when our planning assistance grants, our boost grants for programmatic work, or infrastructure grants open up. So be thinking about that as you're closing out the school year and planning ahead over the summer. Just always have to make the plug for the funding, because then we get to work together, me and you, more closely, and that makes it fun too. All right, so the last breakout we are going to be doing is called our wine time. And we're not talking about that kind of wine. We're talking about, this work is frustrating. If this work were easy, it would already be done. And you might be the only person working on safe routes in your city, in your county, in your region, and you don't really have anyone else to commiserate with. So this is a time to bring some of those challenges that you've been facing, whatever it may be, and kind of talk about those challenges. And then we'll work together to maybe come up with some strategies that can help you overcome them. But this is that time to be vulnerable, because there might be other people who are just getting started in this work and really feeling frustrated and feeling really isolated and alone and not knowing that other people have these same challenges. So open up, be vulnerable, let's whine together, and then come up with some ideas on how we can make it better. So Eric, if you're ready.
I think we're ready. Here we go.
Swap-a-roo. Quick, we're going to do the intros really quick, and then jump into whining. So Kelly Corbin, MnDOT, Safe Routes to School. Jill? Oh, you're muted.
I was so fast. Chamberlain Blue Cross Blue Shield, former Safe Routes Network organizer. Jessica?
Jessica Ganitsky, Safe Kids Grand Forks. We serve East Grand Forks, kind of the north, western east or Minnesota.
Brianna?
Yeah, hi, Brianna Sanders. I'm the transportation planner with UMVRDC in Appleton. And then should I pass it? I could pass it to Jenny.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jenny Borden. I am the active living coordinator with Minneapolis Public Schools, and I'll pass it to Helena.
Hi, I'm Helena, and I am new to the Bicycle Alliance of Minnesota's education team. Be working on the Walk Bike Fund. I'll pass to Eric.
Eric Thompson, Move Minnesota, work in Minneapolis, transportation planner by trade, but worked in Minneapolis Public Schools for a number of years. And I will pass to, I came in late, Jason?
Yeah, Jason Walker. I'm a development planner with Southwest Regional Development Commission. Let's see. Mariah, have you gone yet?
Nope, I think I'm the last one. Mariah Klein, community health specialist with Benton County Public Health. I work on active living under the statewide health improvement partnership grant.
You have all gotten very skilled at quick intros in our time together this hour. Thank you. So yeah, who's having a frustration as of late, or maybe it's just an ongoing frustration that you've had, things that you find challenging with Safe Routes? I know as I maybe you've all experienced this, but the Great Resignation is real. A lot of changing partners in this work right now. A lot of, contractees that I work with are changing over. And so you're kind of always kind of building people into what Safe Routes is and continuing to build those partnerships. And it's fun to have new energy, absolutely, but it's hard to lose some of that knowledge as people go. And so that's kind of been a challenge and an opportunity at the same time. But I don't know if you're feeling that in some of your schools as well, or if there's other challenges you have.
What's our action step to help you here, Kelly? We gotta end this on a positive.
I'm going to continue to stay positive about the new opportunities and energy that people bring, because they get me re-excited about Safe Routes, because I too have been doing this work since 2009. So you need that new energy to make you excited and keep you going with this. So I do appreciate that. Absolutely.
I would say just living in the time of COVID, trying to do things virtually, not being able to be in the schools, now being able to be in the schools, type of thing. And then just having time for us to be in the schools. So we do a lot of safety programming, whether it's bike safety or pedestrian safety or safety around the school stuff. So trying to find that time within the schools for us to come in and present. And again, before doing that virtually and, thinking like, oh, I used to do all this stuff in person. Now I have to try and do it from a screen. And so, kind of adapting as we go. Maybe some things did work better virtually that we didn't think could. So again, just adapting with the times. Again, with COVID, stuff is settling down, at least here. We're able to be in the schools again, but, just that challenge of trying to figure out, we got to keep these kids safe still. they are still in school now. So again, just trying to adapt to the technology and, whether it can be done online or in person now.
Are there some things that you changed during COVID that you're going to keep doing kind of virtually, or other pieces that you modified and you're like, this is actually working, we're going to keep it rolling? Okay. Anything else? Anybody else have any challenges? There's like this work just super easy and you're just making momentum.
I think sorry.
No, go ahead, Eric.
I think one challenge that I kind of am like foreseeing that I'm trying to stay ahead of is the bike shortage that we're experiencing with supply chain efforts. And as people are getting these grants to get bike fleets and folks are trying to upkeep their bike fleets with bike parts that are in short supply, and knowing that, just seeing all these grants that are coming in, being part of that team that's like looking at these grants, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult because it's a short window when people have the grants, money dispersal to like, they have to have spent it by then. So I'm trying to broaden my networks and understandings of different places to purchase bikes. I mean, it's always great if you can buy local, but there's not a lot of local bikes in shops these days. But yeah, trying to stay ahead of that, and so that we can, as people get dispersed these grants, we can tell them good information, good resources on places to go to try to purchase bikes.
It's a different conversation than 5 years ago where we didn't have money to buy bikes, but now there's money to buy bikes, but no bikes. It's funny how things will flip-flop over time. It's good. What other challenges are people facing? Is it hard to get people excited about grant opportunities with so much going on? Or I know communities are still, digging out of their COVID relief funds that they have and trying to get those spent. So sometimes their attention is divided, or they're burnt out from being back in school this year and are just kind of checked out for the rest of the school year. That's real too. What's happening?
Yeah, I think for my region, at least, we kind of struggle a bit with superintendent turnover. We've worked with quite a few superintendents, and they've been on board to doing or writing an application for Safe Routes to School, and then they'll turn over with new superintendents. The one Safe Routes to School planning assistance grant that we got, actually, that was kind of championed by our county engineer versus like the school or the city. It was kind of encouraged strongly by our county engineer. So, that was, a positive. Like, we were able to go through him, and he was kind of, he's well respected, as most county engineers are, and he was able to get the city and the school kind of on board, at least for the application, and now for the plan. So that was a positive. Working on maybe the longer route, but we ended up getting where we needed to be. So yeah,
that's good, and especially in having some of those grass tops people who can help champion or take it on if there is transition going on, and kind of spearheading it, like a county engineer who's really well respected, and taking the baton from a superintendent can be a really helpful workaround for a tricky situation. I'm sure Jason, as another planner, can empathize too, of having someone submit an application in January of one year, and then you start to work on it in August, and half the people on the committee are different, or new stuff got thrown on their plates, and you're trying to get this plan going, and there's challenges because everything's different after 6 months. So, but finding that energy and excitement and getting people on board and finding a new champion is good.
Kelly, I'll say, I think it's two things. There's the politicization, I didn't say that word right, but I think you know where I was trying to go, of everything. It just feels like everything it's this or it's that. And so, like, in recent news stories and like hearing a little bit of like, and the bikes they're taking our things, you know, and it's like, this isn't, kids have to get to and from school. We could like it always coming back to, and I think that's the strength of Safe Routes, is that it can be a more middle place for people with varying beliefs to come together of like, yeah, our kids have to get to and from school, and how do we, you know, make that work? Not to say that that's seamless, but that ways. And then the fatigue of so much of COVID and elections and then global events, and like that weight of things where it can feel a little bit like, and okay, I'm going dark, who cares? Like, it doesn't, like, does this really make, doesn't matter that I got this application in, doesn't matter. And I think that it takes a toll. And then not to leave us in like the pit of despair, to say like, I think for myself, I have tried to go to that next level, and our doorbell just went off, which means the dog might start barking, and the dog who we're keeping calm anyway. No, but just like, and if you don't do anything, it's like the one little thing I can do is like take care of my backyard and grow the flowers there, and that has an effect beyond. So it does matter. The work you're all doing and sticking with and kind of getting through the last 2 years has been really important. I got to mute myself.
And I can build on that, Jill. I was talking with a Safe Routes coordinator in New Ulm, and they were presenting at a school board meeting, and school board meetings have gotten very interesting over the last year or two. And it was a packed house on a very different topic. But he had time to get up and present on a project that they had done, and then the grant funding that they were just awarded for a traffic playground. And it just brought the energy that was really heightened and anxiety ridden in the room, just brought it down and got people kind of a little happier and excited about some of the good stuff that's going on. And so sometimes it can just level things out of like, yes, there's some big issues that we need to deal with, but this is moving forward. There's funding coming in. This is kind of a happier thing that we can be working on and supporting together. So, you know, take that time to go to school board meetings and present these grant opportunities when you get them, you know, promoting Safe Routes in that way, getting school board members and elected officials excited about it is also a great way to bring them along for some of the work in the future and some future challenges we might have when the road construction actually starts, and that always brings more challenges. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Well, I was just going to just add to this topic. I don't know that I have anything really to add, except for that that was Jill really put into words kind of what the weight has felt on me, or just what I was like kind of struggling with. There's both like the Minnesota divide that I feel in Minneapolis really acutely. And I think I get really sad. My dad was raised in Kelliher, Minnesota, and like I know that town really well, and it's not really different than Minneapolis. And so that people think it's so different. I think, oh, they're going to come after us. Like, oh, we got a $50,000 grant. Now people are going to be mad about that. But then at the same time, it's going to be on our board meeting. People are all mad here too. So I'm like, oh no, people are going to be mad about that as well. So those kind of things do weigh on my heart, but we got to cultivate our own gardens. That's what I think. So I think the work we do in our little space, we do good work. We give each other grace, come at it with kindness, and I hope for the best, I guess.
Jason, did you want to jump in? We got a little time left.
Oh, sure. I'd say just the idea that this attitude that for local funding, it has to be 100% or nothing from outside sources.
Yeah.
It's like they won't blink their eyes at a $100,000 change order on a road project.
Well, our group got a little cut off. Hopefully it was the same for y'all, that you were engaged in really thoughtful and meaningful conversation. But we really hope that y'all got something from this, learning from each other, hearing success stories, hearing troubles, and hearing maybe some new ideas to come to this work. But we want to thank you all so much for coming and sharing and speaking with each other, because it's not easy. So thanks so much, y'all.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.